Hello viewers, welcome to Study from Home. So today we are going to cover the topics are here: lysosomes, mitochondria and plastids. So before starting, I would like to say that please like, share and subscribe to the channel Study from Home so that we can bring some more interesting contents to you. Now let's go with the first organelle, lysosomes. So lysosomes are single membrane. They are single layered membrane and spherical in nature. We can see here the cross-sectional view which is spherical in nature. So it is generally floating in nature, that is it floats in the cytoplasm and gets functional whenever required. Now third, it is considered to be suicide bag of cell. And why such name is given to it? Because it has the capability of digesting the worn out part of the cell. That's why the name is considered to be suicide bag. It's capable of digesting all the viruses and bacteria. So it is regarded as waste disposal system. We can see here. It is regarded as waste disposal system. So why such name is given? Because as we can see here, it contains hydrolytic enzymes. These hydrolytic enzymes, they come from the rough endoplasmic reticulum. As we have studied earlier that rough endoplasmic reticulum does have the capability to produce enzymes and proteins. So enzymes does come from the rough endoplasmic reticulum and they go to Golgi apparatus, where the Golgi apparatus modifies the enzyme or modifies the cell. It does its final work and it sends to lysosome, where it creates lysosome and such enzymes are sent to lysosomes. So these hydrolytic enzymes, they are mainly acidic in nature. So the main best part is that, the good part is that these hydrolytic enzymes, they are functional only inside the lysosome. As they are also acidic in nature, so they will be functional only inside the lysosome and not outside the lysosome, that is cytoplasm. So this acts, we can see this hydrolytic enzymes. What is the work or what is the function of hydrolytic enzyme? They do break the complex. We can see the bigger molecules. These are the complex substance. They do break this complex substance into simpler one. So the function of that, it digests the viruses and bacteria. It does breaks the more complex substance into simpler one. Then the last, that is functional of apoptosis programming. So it is programmed for apoptosis. So what is apoptosis? Apoptosis means self-programmed death. That is, lysosome do know itself that when itself, the own self will die, when the cell will worn out. So it does have the great function that it does digest its own worn out part of the cell. That is, new lysosomes are created. At that time, new lysosome, when this lysosome gets destructed by the lysosome itself, according to its function, the new lysosomes are created and it does, and this process, it carries out on and on. The cycle goes on. Now coming to the second organelle, that is mitochondria. So mitochondria, we can see here the single cell. This single cell is known as mitochondrion. So when there are number of mitochondrion, then it is named as mitochondria. So as we can see, it is double layered membrane. We can see the two membrane, inner membrane and outer membrane. So this inner membrane, we can see they are very much folded, and this folding, this very much due to the folding part, the name is given. They are known as cristae. And this inner membrane, this due to the folding, they have a greater surface area. They have a larger surface area. So as compared to outer membrane, inner membrane has more surface area. And it is also floating in nature. It floats in the cytoplasm. And they have their own DNA and ribosomes. As we have earlier studied, that ribosomes do help in synthesis of proteins. That is, they manufacture proteins. And mitochondria, the main function is that it is considered to be a powerhouse of the cell. Why it is considered to be powerhouse of the cell? Because it carries out the cellular or the aerobic respiration. Like a living cell, it takes oxygen. It does take oxygen to synthesize or oxidize its food, to prepare or oxidize its food. And during the oxidation of food, it, with the help of enzymes, it oxidizes its food. And during this, as mitochondria does have its own food and own enzymes. It only takes oxygen. So while taking oxygen and with the help of enzyme, when it's prepared its own food, it produces CO2, that is carbon dioxide, which is also regarded as cellular waste. So this cellular waste or the CO2, it goes out of the cell. The CO2 goes out of the cell. So like a living cell, it takes oxygen and get out the carbon dioxide. So that's why it is known to be, it carries out the aerobic respiration and is known to be the powerhouse of the cell, because it does process the whole cellular respiration. So during this process of respiration, it produces, with the help of chemicals, it produces energy, which is known as ATP. Adenosine triphosphate is the energy which is created during the oxidation. Now coming to the third organelle, that are plastids. So plastids are generally plant cells. So they do have their own DNA and ribosomes. So like mitochondria, plastids does have their own DNA and ribosomes. And they are only present in plant cells, that is, they are not to be in the animal cell, they are absent in animal cells. The type of plastids here we can see here are chloroplast, chromoplast and leucoplast. So chloroplast does have green pigments, whereas chromoplast, they do have pigment other than green, that is they can be orange, yellow. Leucoplast, they don't have any pigment and they are colorless, so they only act for storage of food. So plastids, they are responsible for photosynthesis and contributes to growth and development on the plant. As we can see the diagram here with the various leveling. First is the stroma. So stroma, like cell, has cytoplasm. As a cell, living cell has cytoplasm within it. Likewise, the plastid has stroma within it. We can see here disc-like structure. This disc-like structure can be seen. These are known as thylakoids, and they are placed parallel one upon the other. We can see one upon the other, the discs are placed and they are packed. And this packing version, when they are packed, they are known as granum. So when these are, so there are many of the disc-like structure that are packed. So there are many thylakoids packed, okay, and when they get connected to each other, they are known as granule. So we can see the labeling is here, granule. So it does also have nucleoid and ribosomes, which synthesize proteins. So plastids are very necessary for life process, for such as food storage and photosynthesis. So the main function of the plastid is to storing of food and photosynthesis. So the undifferential plastid, the plastid, they don't have such differentiate, they don't have this all these sorts of things, they are not differentiated into any of this type, they are known as proplastid. So now coming to the functions of plastids. So it is written here that chloroplast is responsible for photosynthesis. And why so? Because chloroplast does contain chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is the main thing for which photosynthesis is carried out. Now chlorophyll help in synthesis of food. So let me explain you the whole process very clearly. Chlorophyll, which is contained in chloroplast, does traps sun rays. When a sun rays, it reflects its rays to the plants. So the plants does trap the sun rays, and also with it, it also traps the solar energy. So with the help of this solar energy, it oxidizes its food. That is, the plant prepare its own food. and during the food preparation it produces sugar or oxygen. It produces both sugar and oxygen. So the oxygen which is produced, it is no more used for the plant. So it exhales the oxygen. The oxygen goes out of the plant, which is very much required for the living being. So it is all interconnected, that during the process of photosynthesis, the plant prepare its own food and exhales out the oxygen, which is very much required by the living being itself. So now coming to chromoplast. So chromoplast does its jobs of imparting colors to fruits, flowering plants, aging leaf. So like chloroplast, after like some time they turn to be chromoplast. So the chromoplast, what are they function? They just impart color to fruits, leaves and flowers. Whereas the third, that is leucoplast, it helps in storage of food. As they have no pigment, they are colorless, then they don't have the function of photosynthesis, so they do carry out the storage of food. So that's what all for today, and thank you. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel Study from Home.